Hello and welcome to SportsZone. I am your host, Alec Rapp. The Mean Green football team, they were on the road this past weekend and they traveled to Memphis to take on a future American Athletic Conference opponent, the Memphis Tigers. And joining me now to discuss that loss, I have Kenzie Neely and Gabby Pippins. How's it going?
Could be better after the game, but
Agreed.
Yeah, well, guys, we're in year 7 of Seth Luttrell. I think we all know what we're getting, the product on the field. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
So Kenzie, I want to start with you. What were your overall thoughts on the game?
I was disappointed, per usual. By the halftime, I was really rooting for him because we were holding our own mostly through the first half of the game. Halftime comes around, you're on the edge of your seat, you wonder if UNT is going to pick it up. They don't. They actually just fumble it multiple times, actually. So I was pretty disappointed by that, to say the least.
yeah, me too. I mean, disappointment, just very, very upset about what happened. Like Kenzie was saying, the first half started off pretty strong. First quarter was 10-6, so we were doing really good. Then second quarter, we're still doing great. 13-20, we're still pretty close in the game, but after halftime, there's just some sort of shift, like a very visible shift where not only does Austin Aune throw 2 interceptions, but they're pick sixes to Jalen Allen and Xavier Collins. So at that point, I feel like it was pretty much over for UNT as we ended 34-44.
Yeah, I kind of have this theory, and obviously you don't know if it's true because I'm not in the locker room, but I feel like Seth Luttrell's already lost the team. This was a team last year that didn't perform that well. They started the year 1-6, and then they win the last 5 games, go to a bowl game, and they lose there. I kind of feel like they just came out in the second half uninspired, not motivated. We saw that in the UNLV game as well. And so it's just back-to-back weeks where it's a football game. They were right there at halftime, but they just weren't able to finish things off. Now, Gabby, both of you had mentioned Austin Aune. Was he the only issue, or was there something else that went wrong for the Mean Green?
So he was definitely the main issue, I will agree there, but there were several things that led to this loss. So yes, he threw 2 interceptions, but we also lost a fumble. And there were just a few other components, obviously defense. I know we've talked about that a lot, but defense is just really suffering. And then along with just poor control and poor handling of the football, in my opinion. And then obviously this all comes back to coaching and Seth Luttrell, but that's a whole other story. But to say the least, I don't think it's just Austin Aune.
Yeah.
It's a combination.
What do you think, Kenzie?
I agree. I mean, usually we're talking about the defense being the biggest issue, but in this game, it was really the offense. I mean, the defense didn't do any better, but the offense was definitely a huge problem. The fact that Memphis got one of its points because the ball bounced off a receiver's hand shouldn't be happening. So
Absolutely.
I have to go with the offense.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, the offense is kind of the thing over the past 2 years that's kept us out of games. The one thing was they went away from kind of their bread and butter, which is the run game. The leading rusher was Oscar Attaway, 12 carries for 46 yards. I know Memphis has a decent run defense, but their run defense is not that good. We've got 5 or 6 running backs that can put up 100 yards a game, and they just were not able to do that. Now, I do want to go back to Austin Aune. So for those of you that don't know, he's a 29-year-old quarterback, the oldest in the FBS. Kenzie, is it time to move on?
Yes,
Okay.
like as fast as possible, in my opinion. It's done. It's tired. There's so many young kids who deserve that position at this point. He's just been fumbling it so much lately. This should be his last season, in my opinion, or at least going to a different school. But I think here, it's over with.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. I don't even think that's a question. Absolutely, yes, because he has consistently been one of the main contributors to UNT's losses. And I just feel like if they're able to either get a new quarterback or maybe some sort of coaching can be done, which I feel like we're past that. But regardless, yes, we need to move on from Austin Aune.
Yeah, I agree. The big issue is he's top 5 in the FBS in passing yards, but that's because you're always playing from behind, and so that's kind of how that one works. I do want to ask, so Gabby, I'll start with you. What do you think the final record for the Mean Green is going to be?
Well, as much as I hate to say it, I think it's going to be somewhere around 5-7 or 4-8, just because the people that they're going to play next, there's a very slim chance of them winning unless there's some sort of major upset. So if I had to bet on it, I'd say 5-7.
Okay. What do you think, Kenzie?
I have to agree with the 5-7, 4-8. I mean, we're not getting any better, but hopefully we don't get any worse. So I don't see them winning any more than 3 games this year.
Yeah, it's an abysmal year for North Texas football, but that's kind of been the past couple years for me. I think I have them going 4-8. So FAU at home this weekend, that's a loss. They'll lose to Louisiana Tech. The only 2 wins that I see left on the schedule in conference play is FIU and Rice. And the good news is 4-8 means we don't get a bowl game. And Seth Luttrell's contract runs out at the end of the year, which means we get a new coach, hopefully next year. But Mean Green fans, if you decide that you want to watch the team, they are back at home this Saturday against FAU. So make sure to go out and support them. And hey, if you want to talk about a team that is winning football game, coming up right after the break, we're going to talk some Dallas Cowboys football.
Hey. Okay.
If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
What is it, Julia? Why are you so excited, honey? Oh, hey, do you want to use your talker? With Julia's autism, using a talker can help her find the words she wants to say.
My dog.
You want to do something with Rose, Julia?
Play ball.
Do you want to play catch with Rose? Oh. I think Rose is excited to play catch too. Oh, Julia, you show us so many different ways to talk together. Oh, and play. Good catch, Rose. Okay, give Julia the ball. There you go. Okay, throw the ball, Julia. Oh.
For Julia's family, early screening for autism made a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Okay, Julia, there you go. Oh, another good throw. That's the way.
Jeff Foxworthy here. You know, if you've ever found yourself repeating the same thing for 75 years, you might be Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Well, thing is, there's a lot more to say. Like if you've ever found yourself burning yard debris and then walking away, well, you might be starting a wildfire. So for the love of the outdoors, go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
A little bit late last night in the Meadowlands as Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys took down the New York Giants 23-16 in a defensive thriller. What a game.
What a game.
What a game.
I mean, look, when the Cowboys win, it's always a good day.
You feel me?
It's always a good day. So, Adam, I want to start with you. What went right for the Cowboys last night?
What went right? The main thing, QB pressure. Our D-line had 24 pressures last night, the most that's ever happened to a Giants QB ever since ESPN started measuring it in 2009. DeMarcus Lawrence looked absolutely amazing with 9 pressures, 6 hurries, 2 QB hits, and 3 sacks. He could have had more if he just wrapped up, honestly.
Yeah.
I also think our running went really well last night. Tony Pollard is slowly but surely kind of becoming more of a workhorse for this team. I like this 2 running back system. You know, Pollard's a speed, explosive guy, can break out for big runs. Elliott's a power back, can wear down the defense, and also be a really good blocker. Personally, I think they played very well last night, and I'm looking forward to next week versus the Commanders.
What do you think, Jasmine?
I very much agree. I was excited watching the game. You know, watching that first game was almost painful to watch. But watching the second game the third game was really fun. Just watching the offense kind of gain a little bit of a flow. Yeah. CD's one-handed tutty. It was amazing to see after he had that big drop. Kind of made me question a little bit, but after he made it up and, you know, that drive especially made me really happy to be a Cowboys fan.
I was so happy to be a Cowboys fan last night. And to quote Michael Irvin on First Take, That defensive line was finger-licking good last night. They were phenomenal. Oh my gosh, you mentioned it, 24 hurries, 6 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong had himself a career night, 2 sacks and a field goal block. That defense is fun, y'all.
Yes.
That is a fun defense to watch. And you know what they say? Defense wins championship.
We're going to the Super Bowl,
That
baby.
is right. Look, I don't want to say it early.
You know.
That defense is looking good. I got to ask. So there's a guy at quarterback right now for the Cowboys, Jasmine.
Yes.
Cooper Rush. He's playing pretty darn good.
Yes.
Is there a quarterback controversy in Dallas?
I know Jerry Jones wants there to be, but I don't think there is. And the reason is I just don't think they would have paid Dak all of that money to sit him on the bench or even to ship him off somewhere else.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as that hand is healed, they're going to put him back in there. Let's say he just does absolutely terrible. I honestly still don't think they'll put Cooper Rush back in.
Yeah. What do you think, Adam?
I definitely agree with what she's saying. I mean, I don't think Jerry's ever going to admit that he might have made a bit of a bad signing. So I think no matter what happens, he's going to probably try to keep Dak in there. Like, unless Cooper Rush just plays absolutely out of his mind the next couple weeks, I think that Dak will be our starter, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying him $40 million a year for a reason. Like, he's the franchise guy. Now, obviously, it was a good game, 23-16. That's kind of a low score, though. Adam, was there anything that you thought went wrong for the Cowboys?
I think there were several things that went wrong. I think receiving in the first half was very lackluster. The only one that looked slightly competent was Noah Brown. CeeDee Lamb was dropping just overall. Wasn't the best receiving. And then the second half, CeeDee Lamb blew up on that one drive, had that great one-hand catch. And I also think our QB contain, even though our D-line played great, I think our QB contain was a little rough. Danny Dimes should not have rushed 79 yards on us like that.
Man.
I mean, you know, he was out here running like Mar Jackson. That should not happen, if I'm being honest.
No.
So I think we need to work on that. Red zone offense too, but just because we won, I'm not going to harp on it too much.
Yeah. What do you think, Jasmine?
I agree. I think that the receiving was lackluster. Seeing CD just have a wide open touchdown and drop it was so painful.
That one hurt.
And especially seeing the Giants kind of coming back, then Saquon scored a touchdown. Like, I just really did not know if we were going to get that one back. So I was kind of concerned in the first half of, field goal battle. But when they came back in the second half and they kind of got their mojo going and got things going, I was actually really pleased. But they do have to, establish what's going on with their passing game.
The worst part of last night's game, if you guys don't know what a group of zebras it's called a dazzle. The dazzle of zebras, those umpires were terrible last night. Those referees missed a clear defensive holding and a clear pass interference, both on Noah Brown. That was an abysmal showing.
They tackled him.
I do want to ask, so Micah Parsons posted on Twitter early in the weekend the picture of Michael Jordan and the flu game. Very quickly, Jasmine, did he have a flu game?
He played good, but I wouldn't call it a flu game. Obviously, Mike went out there and balled when he had the flu, but I do think that he played well. I mean, he didn't play bad. They were obviously double teaming him a lot of the night, but I feel like that really opened up things for the rest of the defense. Like you said, 6 sacks. So D-Law had 3 of them, and I think that him getting double teamed opened that up.
I do want to kind of bounce off the point of him getting double teamed, the opportunities that brought for D-Law and Dorrance Armstrong. Like Micah Parsons' stats last night were 2 pressures, 1 tackle, and honestly, that doesn't tell the story. He did a lot for that team, despite the fact he wasn't filling up the stat sheet, which I think is kind of what I asked for him. But we're not asking him to get 2 sacks a game every game. We're asking him to just open up opportunities and make our D-line be a little more daunting than it already is, and that's what he did last night.
Yep, well, the Cowboys aren't the only team in the DFW winning games. Another one, UNT Soccer. More on that right after this.
Your voice, your vote. In our democracy, they matter. Make yours count. Get registered, learn the issues, and vote by or on November 3rd. Visit vote411.org. This message is furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire, but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
The Mean Green soccer team, they lost their first home conference game since 2008 to FAU 2 weeks ago, but they had 2 bounce-back games this past week. And joining me now to discuss the soccer team, I've got Mason Shepard and John Phillips. How's it going, guys?
It's going great for me. I just got drafted by the Supersonics.
Yes, you did, and your wonderful 2005 NBA draft suit there.
It's a great year.
How about you, John?
Going great. You know, it's my dad's birthday, celebrating that. It's great, you know,
Awesome.
for a little note for him, you know.
There we go. Well, happy birthday to Dad. So, guys, I want to talk about these last 2 games this past week. So, John, I'm going to start with you. Middle Tennessee State and Western Kentucky, what were your overall thoughts?
We're dominant. I think Middle Tennessee State especially, we looked like just the best team by far. We had 24 shots against Middle Tennessee State, won 3-0. Olivia Klein, won Conference Player of the Week. She is amazing.
Yeah.
We looked incredible.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, we had 15 fouls, but other than that, you know, again, dominance is the word of the day that I would use to describe that game.
Yeah, I mean, so really that game, it was Devin Flannery and Olivia Klein the whole game. Obviously, Taylor Tufts has the goal at the end of the game in the 65th minute, or 65th minute, excuse me, but Devin set up Olivia and Olivia set up Devin. So it was a really good game from those two. And a nice 3-0 win. You really needed the bounce back, and then you look at Western Kentucky on Sunday, and that was a 1-0 win. Avery Barron with her first goal with the Mean Green. I want to go back 2 weeks now. Let's turn the clock back.
Of course.
So normally when you lose a soccer game at home, it's just like, okay, whatever. Especially a 1-0 game. It's like, whatever. You know, offense just wasn't on it tonight. Defense played really well.
Yeah.
But when it's an NCAA record of 65 home games in a row that you've won going back to 2008, that's a pretty big deal. Mason, tell me a little bit about that game.
Well, I feel like whenever a streak gets snapped, right, it takes a lot of the air out of the crowd. It takes a lot of air out of the culture of the school, especially when it comes to like 65 wins at home since 2008. But I think it also, to look at it at a positive scale, it gives the team fuel, right? I think it takes off a lot of unnecessary pressure because when you have a streak, one of the most things that you focus on is keeping that streak.
Yeah.
Now that streak is broken. Now we can focus on progressing, getting better, putting together wins. I mean, we saw what happened in these last 2 games. We won convincingly.
Yeah.
So I think, ironically, the streak being snapped was a good thing. It helped propel us forward. What do you think?
I agree. It really showed that we have mental fortitude because usually after a streak is snapped like that, you can lose a couple games, you can have a rough time. But we showed that we have that mental fortitude, dominated 2 games after that, really bounced back.
Yeah, and Coach John Hedlund, he said it's a record that he's very proud of, and it's probably going to stand for a pretty long time. And I'd have to agree with him. 65 games. I mean, we're talking 14 years. Like that is a very long time. Moving ahead, you've got the rest of conference play. So they just started conference play, 3 games in. John, who would you say their toughest opponent is?
I think it's Rice. I think obviously UAB started really well, but Rice has so much talent that you have to watch out for them. They have Bella Kilgore, who has been one of the best goalies in the league, and they have Delaney Schultz, the midfielder, who won Conference USA Player of the Year last year, is just a fantastic player. They have so much talent that I would be afraid of them the most.
Yeah, see, I was gonna initially go with Rice, especially after what they accomplished last year. They were one of the best teams in soccer last year. But I went with my gut and chose UAB instead. I feel like UAB's got a good program going right now. I think they're number 2 behind us in conference play.
Yes.
Yes. So I would say that you know, if you want to focus on your toughest conference opponent, I think ironically our toughest conference opponent is right up ahead of us. So I would just go with UAB. But Rice is a very talented team, and they can always bounce back. They're not going to stay where they are right now.
Yeah, and UAB had a really tough out-of-conference schedule. They played SMU, who's one of the top. They're in the top 25 right now. Florida State and Houston as well.
Yes.
They won pretty convincingly so far in conference play, and we're all talking about UAB, so let's just go ahead and discuss it. Sunday, they play UAB. Mason, what is the key to winning that game?
The key to winning the game, in my opinion, is just for our girls to play their game. Again, when we look at the game, especially against Middle Tennessee, you have where, 25 shots, 2 saves, 10 corner kicks. We dominated. And I think that obviously when you're going against a team like UAB that has incredible amounts of talent, domination shouldn't be the first thing on your mind, but being authentic to yourself, playing your game, because it's been working so far over these last couple weeks. So I think if we go out there, we play our games, if we cut down on the fouls, even with our win against Western Kentucky, we still had 9 fouls to their 10. So if we can cut down on the fouls, focus more on the team coming together, I think we pull that game out.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree. I think the key for me is the offense, because UAB, while they've been fantastic defensively, their goalkeeper, Eva Bayer, has been the best goalie in the league. Their offense has been kind of mediocre so far. They have like 1.89 goals per game, while ours has been electric. So I think if we score the goals that we know we can, the defense shouldn't be as much of a problem because we're so good and they're so mediocre on offense.
Yes.
Well, if you're watching UNT soccer players, it's a life lesson for you all. Be true, be authentic to yourself. And if you're a student here at North Texas, go out and support the team this Sunday. They've been playing really well for really the last 25 years. So make sure to go out and support them against the top team in the conference. And hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking something we all love. That is Texas college football, so don't go anywhere.
The American Red Cross needs your help to install 100,000 free smoke alarms nationwide. Join us April 27th to May 12th. Volunteer at soundthealarm.org.
When you are in space, you can't run down to the store to buy parts. You have to improvise with what you have on your mission. Making is when there is something new that was not in existence at the beginning of the day.
Okay.
It's an incredible sense of accomplishment when you have made something. That's why I make. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that. Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone. What? I should take your phone away. No. I'll call for a ride. Wait, why does my face look like that? I'm playing with these new face filters. Okay, you know what? Yep, that's mine. Kevin, I need that back. No. Kevin!
There's nothing quite like the game of football in the state of Texas. And it was Cowboys legendary head coach Tom Landry that once said, "Football is to Texas what religion is to a priest." And here in Texas, football is king. And we had a great slate of games for college football this past weekend. And joining me now to discuss them, I've got Jeremiah Russo and Yassine KU. How's it going, guys?
Man, I am not doing too good after that UNT loss this weekend.
I mean, Texas, man, we showed up today for NCAA.
I mean, yeah, it's UNT football. What do you expect at this point?
Not much.
And at least we weren't the opponents of SFA.
That is very true. That was a bad game.
Right
we'll bring that one up later. But Yassine, I want to start with you. What was the best game of the weekend?
Man, so for me, without a doubt, I'd have to go Texas Tech versus Texas. And the main reason I say that, coming into the game, me and a lot of other people had Texas Tech having no shot to win the game. I mean, if we look at what Texas did 2 weeks ago against Alabama, you've seen what they did. They held Bryce Young in that offense to only 20 points. So they played a really great game against them, and I thought they were going to win that game as well. But Texas Tech, they came out. They were ready to play. That's some of the best football I've seen them play in a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, without their star quarterback, I still thought they were going to win. They couldn't do it.
I mean, I also had that as a big pick, but also I'm going to look to Baylor and Iowa State. I mean, I'm going to put it out there. Blake Shapen, 19 for 26, 38 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That was phenomenal. And just to put it out there, I mean, you look at the run game yardage, you had Richard Reese with 21 carries and 78 yards and a touchdown. But Iowa State didn't even have that. They had 66. So this one man absolutely destroyed the run game. And even the defense kind of killed Iowa State with 8 penalties, equaling up to 78 yards. I mean, the name of the game, you got to get to the basics. You can't be committing turnovers and flags just like that.
You certainly can't. For me, I kind of have two. The first one was the Iron Skillet, which is TCU and SMU. There's a lot of storylines there. Sonny Dykes was the head coach of SMU last year, goes to TCU. They win that one 42-34. TCU is the only undefeated team for FBS football Division I in the state of Texas. But the game I want to talk about, Texas A&M and Arkansas. I was at that one at AT&T Stadium, and the sheer level of talent that it takes to hit the top of a field goal and not make it is absolutely
I bet you
insane.
that
The
man,
oink doink.
he couldn't even practice that if he wanted to,
No,
man.
that's-
That was just the once in a miracle. Hello, bam.
And not to mention, there was also what I like to call the hook and ladder fumble recovery for a touchdown, 97 yards. Not quite sure why KJ Jefferson dove from 4 yards out, but anyway, that was just a really good game. Jeremiah, what was the worst game of the weekend?
I'm throwing it to UNT, man. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Like, what are we doing against Memphis? I mean, I'm going to give credit to Austin Ani, over 300 yards passing, but you also throw 2 pick six, and you throw it into triple coverage. The receiver kind of fumbles that one, and even just a horrible read. I mean, come on now.
Well, it's 2 pick sixes, and you lose by 10. So those are
But
game
still, like,
defining.
I'm glad that at least we saw the passing go up. As such a very RPO run offense, let's not throw the ball. We were kind of gunslinging a little bit, and I'm okay with that. Please, let's do that. Let's just not throw when our wide receiver is guarded by the entire defense, and we got our guys running up the side just like they were with the Bengals against the Rams, where you have Jamar Chase wide open. But we have, he's open at 3 yards ahead of me. There's 3 receivers or 3 linebackers, just boom.
Okay, hear me out. I'm going to say that Arkansas game just strictly off the fact of what Arkansas did.
Wow,
if
that's
you see,
brave.
they played
That is
horrible.
brave. Yeah.
We seen they started off very strong. I thought they were going to take a hold of that game. And then right after that, we seen the fumble on the 5-yard line. Why are you diving for it on the 5-yard line? Yeah. And then we see a drive later, we see A-Chain run for 60 yards. The momentum shift was crazy after that. We seen the botched snap, the missed field goal. Man, Arkansas, that was a tough one for them.
It's that home field momentum, baby. You got that turf, even though you're not at AT&T Stadium, you got that home field advantage, and I think it actually kind of helped them out in the end.
I think it certainly did. Mine, if you guys didn't see Stephen F. Austin and Warner, the final score was 98-0. If I was Warner, I would not go back on the field at all the rest of the season.
How do you even have a program, bro? You almost got triple digit, bro. They put in 4 quarterbacks, and they all got touchdowns. Even the 4th string. That's how you know something's
up. It was
up.
59-0 at halftime. So I do want to go very quickly, guys. So Jeremiah, what was the biggest upset of the weekend?
I'm going to take it to UTEP, baby. I mean, they are facing Boise State, but at the same time, UNT, who had a horrendous game, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. We did good. We beat them, right? Yeah. And then they come out here to Boise State. One of them boys got a whole kick return touchdown. Yeah. Okay, that's wild. And, I mean, you just put it like this. Total yards, 322 yards. Amazing. They killed it on there. And, I mean, Boise State, you looking like Warner right now, bro. You better chill out, man.
Like I was talking about earlier, I would have to say Texas Tech's win. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, wow, I've never seen a team come that close to beating Bama and not beating them with their star quarterback out, other than when Bama did it to Georgia whenever it was 2 and then Jalen Hurts.
And I'm gonna say it's the ref's fault, and I will stand by it that it was a face mask that blew the game because they should have won, and I stand by that all the time.
Yeah, and then you see their 5-star quarterback gets hurt. They still have a chance to win. Bryce Young in that offense was playing very badly up until the 4th quarter where they finally put up some points. And man, I think 90% of America had Texas winning that game.
Yeah. Well, there were a ton of really good games this past weekend, but there are some really good ones this weekend too. You've got Alabama, Texas A&M, you've got Texas Tech against Oklahoma State, and you've got the Red River rivalry. So tune into those. But before you do that, come back here on Thursday for another episode of SportsZone. And if you're on Twitter or Instagram, give us a follow at NTTV_sports. And don't go anywhere because coming up next is NTTV's Nightly News.